Absolutely. I think every day we have a choice, most people do, to focus on things we're angry about, traffic, weather, basic things like that, or realize we're lucky to be here. And when you put that meaningless stuff aside and start the day with that foundation that I'm lucky to be here, you have momentum going forward and you feel like anything's possible. And I think that's very empowering. And that's the thing about optimism. It's not just healthy for you, like your heart and your disposition, and it's empowering. It enables you to really get things done. Our mission is to spread the power of optimism, and we feel like we do that two ways. Number one, by distributing product that carries a positive message. I feel like the world could use that and embraces that, thankfully. And secondly, we have a nonprofit arm called the Life is Good Playmakers, and that was built to help children overcome life-threatening challenges. In a nutshell, my brother and I loved drawing since we were little kids, and when we got out of college, we were looking for a way to blend business and art, and t-shirts is an accessible way to sell art. So we started running around college dorms selling t-shirts door to door in dorms, not very successfully, but we had a great time. For about 5 years, we sold it on the streets of Boston. We sold t-shirts in dorms. Actually we bought a used van and traveled up and down the East Coast selling door to door for those years. And we learned a lot, even though we didn't make much money and we're just barely getting by. We learned what people liked, didn't like, and finally in 1994, we created something that had broad appeal, and that was this character Jake and the words "Life is Good," and that really changed our life. Well, Jake quickly became the inspirational leader of this company. You know, we always point to him and say, what would Jake do in this situation? Because his power isn't in his physical strength or his foot speed or superior intellect. He doesn't have any of those things. His power is in his disposition. He just decides to be happy every day. And as corny as that might sound, people can make that choice. Most of us have an opportunity to make that choice. And a lot of us human beings, we put off happiness until I will be happy when I get that car, when I buy the new house, when I meet that special person, when I get a raise, when I get a new job, when I finish school. I mean, you can do it your whole life if you want. Or like Jake, you can just decide, I'm pretty lucky to be breathing right now. So that's the perspective I'm going to look at today with. And everything else from there can be an adventure as opposed to just a task of getting through a day. No question, our mother, Joan Jacobs, was by far the most inspirational optimist we've ever known. She could make an art studio out of a kitchen floor. She made lunch out of a block of brown sugar for 4 kids one day, which is hard to do. We actually didn't realize it until like a couple hours after playing. We're like, do we have brown sugar for lunch? But she made every day really a fun adventure because she was always laughing, singing, and she put up with a lot of challenges and just sort of pushed them aside because our dad didn't make a ton of money and worked in a machine shop, and it didn't matter. She'd run out of money and she'd say, I like running out of money because I don't have to worry about what I have to buy. She always would spin it into something positive, and it's very powerful. Because you can spend a lot of time dwelling on the negative. Today you could determine that the weather was going to bring you down, or the traffic you ran into, or your boss. Or you can just decide again that you're lucky to be on this planet, that you're lucky to be breathing. And if you start with that as a foundation, anything's possible. And as we like to say, optimism can take you anywhere. We really believe that, and we definitely got it from our mother, Joan. In terms of Project Joy and Steve's professional life, he's been an inspiration for a long time. And early on, when Project Joy was in its infancy, we would get together and help Steve plan fundraisers on a small scale, basketball tournaments where we'd rally our friends to put teams together. And little fundraisers like that. It was a lot of fun. Anything you do with Steve Gross is fun, but it also was clearly a great cause, and you could tell Steve had just this passion for helping kids. And so we've worked together for a long time, and recently we decided to turn Project Joy officially into what we call the Life is Good Playmakers, and that's our nonprofit arm. We thought we could bring the strength of the brand to Steve's great nonprofit, and he's certainly given us a more focused purpose as a company that wants to help kids. We believe in the power of play, and we love what Steve's been building for so many years, so it's kind of a dream come true to work hand in hand with him. So on the professional side, he remains a big inspiration, and on the personal side, he's one of the funniest guys I know, and just feel proud and lucky to know him. I think there's something deeper there. I feel like there's a ripple effect to what we do. Everyone at Life is Good believes that one little t-shirt could pick someone's spirits up, and we get letters to that effect nonstop, letters and emails, and it's really helped us see the depth of the message. And so we don't really know where the impact of that optimistic viewpoint, that positive message, we don't know where it stops, and that's a good thing. And I feel like it's the same way about the Life is Good Playmakers. You know, they start with child care providers, injecting them with a certain playful spirit so they can bring it to kids, not just once when Steve Gross and his team are there, but on and on in different sessions with the kids in school, in counseling, etc. And you can't really measure where those ripples end because they don't end. And that's the exciting thing to me about the Playmakers. You know, that one Playmaker might end up impacting thousands of kids because one kid that he spoke to and met with and helped see the world through optimistic eyes, that kid may go on to be a community leader or beyond that and impact so many other children on his own. So that's an exciting thought, and it's the same feeling we have about our festivals, you know, bringing people together for a cause. We really can't measure when they leave that field that weekend what they might do. Maybe they donate, maybe they decide to volunteer, maybe they know a friend who really needs some help and connects them with a program like the Life is Good Playmakers. So for many reasons, we just think it's really a perfect match. And we've also been blessed with, I think, a playful spirit thanks to our parents, and we see how helpful that can be even later in life as an adult. And so we want to give as many kids as we can that opportunity. Well, I think my brother and I have been really fortunate to have built this business doing something we love, and today we're lucky to be still doing something we love, and that didn't come because of our genius. That came because our parents gave us certain things, and then as we were trying to build this business, our own community, whether it was the people on the street telling us they liked our shirt or didn't like the shirt, or people chasing us off certain parts of the city we didn't know we could sell in. But all these little things, we actually learned from all these experiences, you know, not to mention coaches, teachers, all these people that have helped us grow as individuals and learn the important values. That just doesn't happen because of your own persistence. Sure, we did work hard to build the business, but very much a team effort, and I think Boston's been very good to us in that way. We just were running around with our duffel bags for a lot of years, and whether it was a college campus like BC or UMass or the streets of Boston, we kind of cut our teeth, so to speak, in Boston. So eventually, if you have some success, I think it's only natural to want to pass those good vibes along and, you know, pass it on to the next person who might be struggling and trying to figure things out. So it just makes sense to turn around and try to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say in other cities they don't, but
no, there's definitely. I mean, that old cliche about on the West Coast, people are always in transition. You know, it's harder to form long-term bonds, and I think that's true. And LA, places like that have their own appeal, you know, but in terms of loyal friends who are always going to be there for you and family, there is something special about New England and about Boston that way. Number one, there's not even just the negative thing, the aspirational, you know, you need this car, this house, this whatever in order to be happy, to keep up with the Joneses. Hopefully people can see right past that and they're just trying to sell something. But it's not real healthy. It's, again, pushing off happiness and assigning it to something that's material and that's meaningless ultimately. But the other part is even more important. There's so much negative info out there, and I think it's because sensational news gets people's attention, and it's all fear-based, fear-driven, and it doesn't do anyone any good. And there's so much focus on murders and fires and disasters, and you know, there is a place for that. And you know, the biggest place is if you're asking viewers to help a situation. But too much of it is just sensational and wants to appeal to that basic survival instinct in human beings, and it's not healthy for people to see that repeatedly. So no question, Life is Good was born as a response to that, and we were really happy to see it confirmed that yes, people not only responded well, they crave positivity in their world, and they find it so refreshing when they see positive messages. And the world needs a lot more of them. And my only advice to anyone regarding the negative news is just turn it off. I mean, turn it off. You'll get the main headlines from the world around you, from individuals you run into, but the box is not a good thing for your psyche. I think it's so important to be part of something bigger than yourself. And if you interviewed people that are 80, 90 years old, you ask them what's important, it's their connection to something bigger than themselves, whether it's their old team they used to, you know, basketball team, or it's the neighborhood they grew up in, or their family, or these are the things that really have value as your life evolves. And people, sometimes it takes them a while to realize that, but the material stuff is so meaningless. And what brings you true joy is helping others and feeling a connection to something bigger than yourself.